I spent 3 years paying a man to build my dream home. I had no idea he was also sleeping with my wife. Until one night, her phone lit up with 5 simple words. My name is David. I am 34 years old. I manage supply chains for a living, moving freight across the country, tracking shipments, fixing broken schedules. My entire life is built on predictability. I like knowing where things are. I like knowing where they are going. And for 7 years, I thought I knew exactly where my life was headed. I am not a complicated man. I don't need grand gestures. I don't crave the spotlight. I just wanted a quiet life, a solid foundation, someone to share the silence with. That was Chloe. We met in our late 20s. She was an interior designer, creative, vibrant, everything I wasn't. She brought color into my structured world. We bought a house in the suburbs, planted a garden in the backyard, got a golden retriever named Sam. On paper, we were the American dream. We shared bank accounts. We shared passwords. At least, I thought we did. I paid the mortgage from our joint checking. She handled the utilities. We were a team. I trusted her implicitly. Trust isn't something you give conditionally. Not in a marriage. You either hand it over completely, or you don't give it at all. And I gave her everything. Lately, she had been working late. Big commercial project, she told me. A boutique hotel downtown. It meant evening site visits, dinner meetings with suppliers. I felt proud of her. I really did. I even bought her a nice leather portfolio to celebrate the new contract. She kissed me when I gave it to her, told me how lucky she was, how I was her rock. I held on to those words. I repeated them to myself when the house felt empty. When I ate dinner alone 3 nights a week, I told myself it was for our future, for the kids we were planning to have next year. I was building a fortress for us, brick by brick. But I didn't know she was unlocking the back door. It was a Tuesday night in November. Cold wind rattling the living room windows. The fire was going. Sam was asleep on the rug. We were watching some documentary on TV. Or rather, I was watching. Chloe was scrolling on her phone, her thumb moving endlessly, her face glowing in the pale screen light. Nature of the job, she always said. Clients texting at all hours. I never questioned it. I'm going to make some tea, she said. She stood up, stretched her arms, and walked into the kitchen. She left her phone on the coffee table, face up, right next to my water glass. I wasn't looking for a reason to doubt her. I really wasn't. I was just watching the screen, listening to the kettle whistling in the next room. Then, her phone lit up. A silent notification, just a banner across the lock screen. Normally, I wouldn't even glance, but it caught the corner of my eye. The sender's name wasn't a client. It wasn't a contractor. It was saved simply as a single letter. J. I leaned forward. My heart didn't race. Not yet. I just read the words. 5 simple words. Sitting there in plain sight. I can still taste you. The kettle shrieked in the kitchen. Chloe called out, asking if I wanted honey in my tea. Her voice sounded perfectly normal. Light. Loving. Familiar. But the woman standing in my kitchen was no longer my wife. I sat back on the couch. The blue light of the phone faded to black. And in that total darkness, I realized my entire life was a lie. I didn't touch the phone. I didn't breathe. I just stared at the screen until it went dark. In the kitchen, I heard the clinking of spoons. Chloe was humming. A low, happy sound. A sound she usually made when she was relaxed, when she felt safe. It made me sick to my stomach. Here we go, she said. She walked back into the living room, holding 2 steaming mugs of tea. She smiled at me. It was the same smile I woke up to every morning, the same eyes I had looked into at the altar. But suddenly, it looked like a mask. She set my mug on a coaster. I put a little extra honey in yours. Thanks, I managed to say. My voice sounded hollow, distant, like it belonged to a stranger. I picked up the mug with both hands, mostly to stop them from shaking. She sat down next to me. She pulled her legs up under the blanket, and she picked up her phone. I watched her out of the corner of my eye. She tapped the screen. Her expression didn't change. Not a flinch. Not a single guilty glance in my direction. She just typed a quick reply, locked the phone, and set it face down this time. Work? I asked. It was a test. A stupid, desperate test. Yeah, she sighed. Just the contractor for the lobby design. Always needing something. She rested her head on my shoulder. I felt the warmth of her body against mine. I smelled her shampoo, lavender and vanilla. For 7 years, that scent was my safe place. Now, it just felt like a crime scene. I didn't yell. I didn't throw my tea at the wall. I didn't demand to see her phone. I manage logistics for a living. When a system breaks, you don't panic. You trace the failure. You find the source of the problem. I needed to know how deep the rot went. That night, long after she fell asleep, I quietly got out of bed. I walked down the hall in the dark. I took my laptop into the guest room, and I logged into our shared cell phone account. I pulled up the detailed billing logs for her number. I didn't need her phone. The network records everything. Every timestamp. Every incoming and outgoing number. I scrolled back. Past today. Past last week. Past last month. Pages and pages of data. Row after row of silent betrayal. The number belonging to Jay was there. Over and over again. Hundreds of texts a day. Late night calls lasting hours. Calls made while I was at work. Texts sent while we were sitting on the same couch. But the worst part wasn't the frequency. It was the timeline. I traced the very first interaction back. Month by month. Year by year. Looking for the moment my marriage actually ended. When I finally found the start date, my blood ran cold. Because the date on the screen was 3 years ago. The exact same week. We closed on our house. 3 years. 36 months of stolen afternoons. 36 months of lies told right to my face. I sat in the dark of the guest room, listening to the wind rattle the window panes. Half of my marriage was a ghost story, and I was the only one who didn't know I was dead. I didn't sleep. I watched the ceiling turn from black to gray. When the sun finally came up, I shut the laptop. I walked into the kitchen and started the coffee maker. I needed routine. I needed the mechanical hum of normal life to keep me from falling apart. A few minutes later, Chloe came downstairs. She was wearing my old college t-shirt. Her hair was messy. She looked beautiful. She poured herself a cup of coffee and leaned against the counter. "You're up early," she said. Her voice was thick with sleep. "Couldn't sleep," I replied. "Just thinking about work." She gave me a sympathetic little pout. "Don't work too hard, David." She took a sip from her mug. "By the way, I have that site visit tonight for the boutique hotel. I probably won't be home until 8 or 9. "Okay," I said. My voice didn't crack. My hands didn't shake. I looked right into her eyes. They were clear, warm, unbothered. How do you do that? How do you look at a man you've been destroying for 3 years and not even blink? I drove to my office. I shut the door and locked it. I didn't look at a single shipping manifest. I just pulled out a notepad, and I wrote down the 10-digit number I had memorized in the dark. Jay, I am not a detective, but I know how to track missing freight. You look at the point of origin. October, 3 years ago. What happened that month? We bought the house, but we didn't move in right away. We spent 6 weeks renovating, getting the first floor. I opened my personal email archive. I typed the 10-digit phone number into the search bar. I didn't really expect a hit. People usually keep work and personal numbers separate, but arrogance makes people lazy. The search results loaded. One email. An attached PDF invoice. From exactly 3 years ago. I clicked on it. A company logo appeared on the screen. Apex Custom Builds. And right below it, the direct contact number for the project manager. The exact same 10 digits. Belonging to a man named Jason. Jason, the guy who practically lived at our house for 2 months. The guy who drank my beer on the back porch. The guy who shook my hand and congratulated me on a beautiful home. Chloe used to complain about him constantly. She said he was unprofessional. She said he was always running late. She rolled her eyes every time his truck pulled into the driveway. It was brilliant, really. The perfect cover. I looked away from the monitor. I thought about my house. I thought about the beautiful custom kitchen, the heavy marble island where we ate dinner, where she made my tea last night. Jason built that island. He built our bedroom closets. He laid the hardwood floors. And suddenly, I felt like I couldn't breathe, because the house I had been paying for wasn't my sanctuary at all. It was a monument, built by the man who stole my wife. I spent the next 3 days living with a ghost. I ate dinner with her. I slept next to her in the dark. I listened to her complain about her clients. And I didn't say a single word. Logistics is all about timing. You don't stop a shipment mid-transit. You wait until it reaches the loading dock. Then, you change the locks. On Friday morning, I took a personal day. I didn't tell Chloe. I drove downtown and sat in a gray, quiet office. I slid a flash drive across a mahogany desk. It held the billing logs, the email receipts, the financial records for our custom renovations. The lawyer asked what I wanted. A clean cut, I told him. I don't want to argue. I just want her out. By noon, the paperwork was drafted. By 2 o'clock, I was at the bank. I opened a new account in my name only. I transferred my half of our liquid savings, my yearly bonuses, my personal investments. I left her exactly what she had earned herself. Not a penny more, not a penny less. When I got back to our house, it was completely empty. Just me and Sam. Chloe texted me around 4. Site visit is running long. Going straight to dinner with the hotel investors. Don't wait up. Love you. I read the message while standing in the kitchen. I rested my hand on the cold marble island Jason had built. Love you too, I typed back. I didn't stay in the house. I put the dog in the back of my truck, and I drove across town. I was heading to an address I found in the public business registry. The residential address registered to Apex Custom Builds. It wasn't a boutique hotel site. It was a modest brick townhouse on the east side. I parked my truck 2 blocks away. I killed the engine, and I waited. The sun went down. The streetlights flickered on, and at exactly 6:30, Chloe's white SUV turned onto the street. She didn't park on the curb. She pulled right into the driveway, like she lived there, like it was her home. I watched her get out of the car. She was holding a bottle of wine. She was wearing the black dress she bought for our anniversary. The front door of the townhouse opened before she even knocked. Jason stood in the doorway. He looked exactly the same as I remembered. Same flannel shirt. Same confident, easy smirk. The kind of guy who builds things with his hands and takes whatever else he wants. She didn't just walk inside. She dropped her bag on the porch. She wrapped her arms around his neck, and she kissed him. Not a quick greeting. A deep, familiar, hungry kiss. Right there under the yellow porch light. Reading a text message hurts. It makes you sick. But watching your wife touch another man, watching her give him the affection she starves you of, it kills the last weak part of you. The part that secretly hoped it was all a misunderstanding. My phone vibrated against my leg. It was an email from my lawyer. The divorce documents were finalized and stamped. He just needed to know where to send the process server on Monday. Normally, they serve you at home or at your office. But I looked up at the glowing window of Jason's townhouse. I saw their 2 silhouettes moving across the thin curtains. I opened the email reply box. I typed out Jason's address. And then, I added one very specific instruction. The instruction was simple. Serve her on Monday morning, at 7 o'clock sharp, right as Jason's crew arrived for their morning meeting. I wanted him to see it. I wanted him to understand the reality of what he took. He didn't just win a secret romance. He won a woman with no savings, no safety net, and as of that morning, no home. I was sitting in my new apartment when my phone rang. It was 7:15. The caller ID showed her face. The photo from our honeymoon in Maine. I watched it flash on the screen. Once. Twice. I almost didn't answer. But logistics requires confirmation of delivery. I picked up. David, she whispered. Her voice was shaking. What is this? What did you do to the bank accounts? My key doesn't work at the house. She wasn't angry yet. She was just terrified. The fantasy was over. The secret was out in the brutal morning light. The house is being listed on Friday, I said. My voice was perfectly steady. Your half of the equity will be held in escrow. My lawyer will contact yours. David, please, she sobbed. Let me come home. We can talk about this. It meant nothing. I closed my eyes. 3 years. 36 months of lies. It meant enough to let him build my kitchen, I said. It meant enough to let him drink my beer. The line went completely silent. She knew. In that one sentence. She knew I had seen all of it. The logs. The emails. The kiss under the yellow porch light. I have to go to work, Chloe, I said. Have a good life with Jason. I hung up the phone. I blocked her number. I blocked her emails. I completely erased her from my grid. I heard through mutual friends that it didn't last. Jason and Chloe. Turns out, a secret affair isn't nearly as fun when it becomes real life. When the thrill of sneaking around is replaced by lawyer fees. When she wasn't a prize to be stolen anymore, but a desperate woman living out of a suitcase in his spare room. The divorce took 8 months. Our house sold quickly. I didn't take any of the furniture. I let the new owners keep the custom marble island. I didn't want a single thing his hands had touched. I live in a high-rise downtown now. It's quiet here. Predictable. Just the way I like it. Sam sleeps on a new rug by the window. I still manage supply chains. I still fix broken schedules. Sometimes, people ask me if I'm lonely. If I miss the life I had in the suburbs. I always tell them the truth. You can't miss a house that was built on a fault line. You just feel lucky you woke up and walked out the front door before the roof caved in.